I hope that you're all doing okay. Each day in the lead up to Good Friday, we'll be focusing our thoughts on the 7 sayings of Jesus on the cross and offering a short reflection on each of the sayings. The first of the 7 sayings is found in Luke chapter 23. Jesus says, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Now, to put this into context, Jesus had shared his last meal with his disciples. Then he headed out to the Garden of Gethsemane. While he was in the garden, he prayed out to his Father. He knew that he was heading to the cross. While he was praying, his closest followers fell asleep, and Jesus was arrested in the middle of the night and taken to the high priest, where he was mocked and beaten. He was treated cruelly all through the night and then taken to Pilate, where he was lied about. But Pilate could find no fault with him, and so sent him to Herod, where he was further mocked and ridiculed. He was flogged and beaten, and a crown of thorns was placed on his head. They could still find no reason for him to be put to death, but the people were adamant that he be crucified. So much so that Pilate gave in. He washed his hands, saying he wanted no part of it. But if he's to be crucified, then so be it. And so Jesus was sent to be crucified, a painful death. And then in Luke chapter 23, we read, "When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. Jesus said, 'Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing.' And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, 'He saved others, let him save himself, if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one.' The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, 'If you are the King of the Jews, save yourself.' There was a written notice above him, which read, 'This is the King of the Jews.'" In the midst of all of this suffering, mockery, and pain, Jesus could have said, "Father, punish them for what they are doing to me." But instead, he praised those incredible words, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Wow, what an amazing demonstration of grace. I wonder who Jesus had in mind when he said those words. Was it the disciples who had fallen asleep in the garden or denied or betrayed him? Was it the people who had beaten and tortured him? Was it those who turned against him, or the soldiers who had hung him to the cross? Or was it you and me whose sin put him there? You see, often when we talk about sin, it comes with negative connotations, but in Christianity, when sin is mentioned, it's not to make us feel guilty or ashamed, but instead it's to help us discover God's grace and mercy and our need for God's forgiveness. Even while experiencing the atrocities of crucifixion, Jesus was praying for the very people who caused his suffering. In those words, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," Jesus is expressing love, grace, compassion, and sacrifice beyond measure. And today I would love to challenge you to carry that saying of Jesus with you. "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Let it mull over in your mind and soak into your thoughts. Perhaps you need to acknowledge that you are truly forgiven and to let go of the guilt and shame that you may be carrying. Today, let's take some time to reflect on the way that God so freely pours his grace upon us, and remember the lengths that he went to so that we could truly be forgiven. And then I'd like us to bring it back to us. It's incredible to be in a place where we know that we are truly forgiven, but sometimes we're not so quick to offer that same forgiveness to others. Perhaps there are people who we feel are against us, or hard to get along with, or difficult, and we just wish they weren't a part of our lives. What if we followed Jesus' example and chose to pray for those people? What would happen? Would our attitudes change? Would they change? What if you were to commit to praying for the people who are against you? Let's spend some time praying together now. Father, I thank you for the lengths that you went to so that we could be truly forgiven. I pray that we would let go of any guilt or shame that we may be carrying and accept that we are truly loved and forgiven by you. And God, this week as we reflect on people in our lives who maybe are a bit difficult or hard to get along with, or who maybe have caused us hurt and we feel are against us, God, I pray that we would commit to praying for those people, that we would follow your example and choose to forgive. Amen.